Many of us have heard of proteins in the past, whether it's in our food, muscle, or perhaps dietary supplements. But the question is just what do proteins do? That's what we're going to look at today. Remember, the goal of transcription and translation is to make proteins. This ensures cell survival. What are proteins? Proteins are molecules that perform specific tasks. For example, your blood carries oxygen to the rest of your body. But the only reason it can do that is because it contains a protein called hemoglobin that binds to oxygen and carries it in the red blood cell. There are millions of different types of proteins, and each one has a very specific task. Every function and part that is your body, there's a protein that does it. They can range anywhere from the simplest protein doing menial tasks to the bizarre intercellular proteins that regulate tasks. Examples of proteins: hemoglobin stores oxygen in blood. Insulin breaks down glucose for cell use. Insulin is a molecule that's very specific to breaking down glucose so the body can use it. It's generated in the pancreas and then put out into the bloodstream. People who have diabetes can no longer create insulin, thus causing health problems as they can no longer break down glucose in the food. Transmembrane let items into the cell. Transmembrane proteins are proteins that lie in the cell membrane. They act as kind of gatekeepers, letting certain materials into and out of the cell, thus maintaining a healthy cell. OCA2 determines eye color. Your eye color is based off of a protein called OCA2. This shows how specific proteins can be, whereas each different folding of OCA2 can lead to a different eye color. What are proteins made out of? The monomers of proteins, amino acids. There are 20 different amino acids. Amino acids are small molecules that are the monomers or building blocks of proteins. They differ in this green area of their functional group. What makes each amino acid different is this green circled area, or their functional group. The functional group and the order in which the amino acids are determines the protein shape. Amino acids. During translation, amino acids are pulled to create protein. As we've seen before, during translation, the ribosome binds to a piece of mRNA and starts reading the codons one at a time. It'll then bring in matching pieces of tRNA to bring in the corresponding amino acid. From there, it'll start a process where amino acids are linked together.
The methionine is then transferred to the A site amino acid, the first tRNA exits, the ribosome moves along the mRNA, and the next tRNA enters. These are the basic steps of elongation.
This will continue to go until the ribosome hits a stop codon, thus causing the protein to fall off.
The ribosome moves along the mRNA, and new tRNAs enter. When a stop codon is encountered in the A site, a release factor enters the A site and translation is terminated. When termination is reached,
from there it will fold and you get a fully functional protein. The order determines the shape of the proteins. This is called a polypeptide chain. It's a long chain of amino acids that will eventually become a protein. The order is incredibly important, as we see here, as certain amino acids will bond to each other, thus creating certain folding. For example, there's only one difference in the proteins that determine whether the hair is going to be curly or straight in a person. Once pulled, the amino acid chain will bend to a new shape. As we can see here, we have a polypeptide chain of consisting amino acids. This is about the average length of your typical protein. Here we see the amino acid beginning to fold and bend depending on the certain amino acid chains. It will then continue to fold and fold over itself until it gets to its ideal shape. We now have a fully functional protein capable of being able to perform the task it was designed to do. Forms of functioning protein. The way the protein bends depends on the order of the amino acids. The question is this then? With the protein that you eat, what do you think it's used for? When you eat a steak, fish, eggs, milk, anything like that, What happens to the protein that you've ingested? Look forward to talking to you guys later.